Okay, so this is going to be kind of part two to video 4-1 of good file maintenance. So what happens if you get a file or you've built a file and you weren't great about organizing and keeping it together as you were building? And honestly, this happens a lot. We get rushed or we think it's just going to be like something and it turns into more and you're like, oh, I want to keep this, but oops, I should have been more careful about it. Okay. So here's one, has no layers, a little bit of grouping, but there's still things that need to be fixed in it. Let's see. So this one, let me make sure I'm in the right file. Actually, no, this is my organized one. So let me get to this one. This one is actually the one you can see that there's things happening. They're not grouped and not, if I go to window and I open entity info, and I go to window and I open tags because those we for sure want to see. So that's where I can see, I don't have a good organization list of tags and entity info. So I'm going to fix that. But like in this one, you can see that that's all been done. So I can see that the plan layer can be turned off. I can see that the area rug can be turned off. Furniture, when I turn off that layer, I can turn off all the lighting in one click. And then I can see I've got like a crown molding. I've got entourage, so my lady disappears, my flooring, my feature wall, my ceiling feature, then my actual ceiling and walls. And so you can just, and then baseboards and things like that. So that's what we need to get to. And so I won't do everything in this video because it can take a little while, but I want to start it to show you. So how do we go if we're at ground zero and we have not organized, or we brought in some furniture and it gives us some layers. We're like, what is this? And we need to get it all in furniture. So where do you start? The biggest thing I would start with is stuff that you know you can easily get out of your way that's not going to impact other things. Like furniture, these are already components, and this will make it super easy for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a furniture layer. Now you can choose to go 1, furniture, 2, and how you want to organize and label that. Your instructors, if you're in a class, might have particular ways they want you to do it, or if you work for a firm. But everybody's kind of got their own process. But really for this one, I do like to make 0 the plan layer because then that keeps it at the top and I can easily find it. So for example, this right here, I can click on the image of the plan. I'm going to come up here to the entity info and I'm going to put that on 0 plan layer. And that's all you have to do. And now if I turn and click the eyeball, I turn that visual layer off and it goes away. Okay, so there's one down. Now I got to keep going. So now let's make, I did the furniture, but obviously there's nothing on that layer. Nothing turns off when I click that. So now I'm going to select, I'm going to hold down the shift key and multiple, so whoop, don't grab walls. Didn't want that, just the furniture. And I am going to select all that and put it on furniture. And now to verify, when I turn off the furniture, it goes away. And again, if you miss something, like if you miss one of the chairs, just go back, select it, add it to it. You can always add, you can always subtract. If you accidentally put this lighting on the furniture, we'll turn back on the furniture and then just re-click it and then go up here and just change the tag. So it's easy fix if you accidentally stick something on, get a little click happy. So then I could do lighting and I could select the ceiling light, the sconces, and I can go and add that to lighting. Okay, so let me turn off the lighting. Getting better, it's starting to get in there. I get all the stuff that's really easy peasy. I can add entourage. Let me add my lady there because she would be entourage, or you could do people, but I tend to put them with entourage. And so now I can turn off entourage. Okay, so then this isn't touching anything. That's good. And so we can see this rug is not grouped. So I'm going to triple click that and immediately make it a group because I don't want it to stick to anything like my floor down later on. So I am going to add a rug layer because maybe later on I have more than one rug. They can all be on the same layer. So then I'm going to put that on rug. I can turn off rug and I just kind of keep going. So I can see that this feature wall is not grouped. It's also flashing. And I do luckily have these walls grouped, but guess what? It's also grouping with the ceiling. So that's not great because if I, or here, sorry, if I put this on a walls layer, let's do that. If I put that on the walls layer, oh, actually, it didn't turn off. Okay, that's good. So now I can, it was just selecting around the boundary. That's fine. So that's good. Now the thing is, I'm like, okay, I want to get the ceiling on its own layer. And if I triple click, the problem is it selects everything else. So this is where it's going to get a little trickier. I've got to separate some of these items. So what can I do? I'm going to go ahead and make a crown molding layer. I'm going to go ahead and make a ceiling layer, but I'm also going to add another ceiling layer, ceiling, and then I'm going to do underscore feature. And then I'm going to do a feature wall. Then I would probably have one for baseboards, and I would just make that layer. So all those are empty. They don't have anything on them right now. But I've got to start separating them. And then I would have a flooring layer. Okay. So let's start with the ceiling. How do I separate this? Because again, if I triple click, not good. If I double click, a little better. I can see like, all right, is it selecting anything I don't want it to be? No, that's actually doing pretty darn good. So by just double clicking, it's letting me grab the ceiling. And so what I can do is I'm going to edit, and I'm going to go edit cut just to temporarily see it and see how everything looks. And that's okay with the baseboard or the crown. We're good there. Okay, so not bad. So edit, paste in place, back in, and I am going to say make group. And then I'm going to apply that to the ceiling layer. And now I'm going to turn off ceiling. Perfect. So now if I triple click the crown, well, that's not good. Let's see what a double click does. Okay, double click doesn't get me enough. So this one I got to be a little bit more specific about. So what I'm going to do is I can decide, I'm like, do I want to do the crown first or do I want to do the feature ceiling? I'm going to start with the crown. So I'm going to grab using just the selection, and I'm going to try to, and you're going to need to orbit around. If I hold down the shift key so I can add to that selection, I'm going to work my way around and grab just the pieces I need for the crown. And so I'm going to orbit around. I'm going to make sure everything's highlighted in blue. This could take a good few extra steps. Like you got to go slow about it. Make sure you're not missing anything. If you miss something, we can go back and add it later on. That's okay. All right, so let's finish. I can get around here. Okay, so is it grabbing everything? I can need to get this back area. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let me go orbit this way. There's a little piece right there. Oh, need that guy. So this isn't the end of the world. I'm actually going to come back and I'll show you how to get that if you're missing something, like if you're, but it's kind of complicated to grab right then and you don't want to undo your selections. All right, so if this is good for now, what I'm going to do is say make group. I'm going to put it on the crown layer, crown molding, and then I'm going to hide the crown molding and I can go, oops, I missed some lines. Not a big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go finish selecting those lines that I missed. And I'm going to orbit around and see if I need to grab anything. Okay, if that's the last of the crown, now how do I fix it? How do I get it on there? I'm going to go edit, cut. I'm going to turn on the crown molding. I'm going to double click my group to edit it. And I'm going to go edit, paste in place. And you really can't see it because, but we can see now that's still highlighted. It has been added to this group. So if I click outside of the group, and this time if I turn on crown molding, everything disappears. So look, again, I have one little tiny piece that I forgot. Edit, cut, turn on the crown, double click to edit mode, edit, paste in place. And if, like, for example, this face is missing, all I can do is go right here, retrace that. And not that it's impacting anything, but I can always retrace to get that like back if you want it, if it feels like it's something that needs to be there. And so on. So, but there we go. Now we got the crown. And then, so what that does is now I can move on to this area. Now this is a feature wall and this is the ceiling. If the materials are the same, they can be grouped together and that would be fine. In reality, these are, but if I turn on the walls, if you remember, this is flashing and it's got some competition because this is kind of inside the wall. So this needs to be fixed a little bit. So if I take this, I need to get these baseboards off. Let me see. Will you let me push pull you out? Let's see. No, it's got a limit because of this area up here. So, and what that's doing is right here, if I just temporarily delete this line, if I take, now that those are out of the way, they're not obstructing, I can bring that forward slightly. And then I can replace those lines. And now, if I turn back on the walls, it's not going to be flashing when I apply material to it. So that makes it really easy. So I could decide, do I want this to be together or separate? Maybe I haven't decided if I want the feature wall and ceiling to be the same. So as a precaution, I could go ahead and put them on separate layers. So I could do the same thing. I could just, the biggest thing is though, is they're kind of one right now. So if I needed to separate these two, I could just trace along this because again, it's not a group. I can trace along, make sure I'm horizontal and cut, basically cut the planes and then select and in theory, let me cut just to see. Okay. Let's see. Let's start here. I'm going to get down here. Whoop, whoop. Get the bottom of this, the side of this. If you accidentally unselect it, that's okay. We can fix it. Get that line, that line. Okay, that should be everything. If I, in theory, want to. Okay, so I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to say make group. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the feature wall because I'm sure there's a couple lines I need to grab, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on feature wall. I'm going to turn off feature wall for now, and I can take a look at it. Obviously, I'm missing this little face and this right here of this, and that's okay because then I could easily edit, cut, and don't worry about this. It's not, we're going to fix that. I can turn on the, I'm going to hide this temporarily. And then I'm going to turn on the feature wall. Edit, or go double click to edit, then edit, paste in place. And now it's back on where it should be. So feature wall. Now I'm going to go back to edit, unhide last. And don't worry, because I took that line away, it thinks it's missing. It's not. I can easily fix that. See my line tool, handy dandy, and I'm gonna fix. And I'm gonna fix. Boom. Now I can triple click this, make a group, and apply this to ceiling feature. And now I can turn off ceiling feature. And literally it's just, you keep going. So now I have to do exactly what I've been doing before and do the same thing for the baseboards and selecting those. Because right now there's no real flooring that's been, the floor plane hasn't been drawn yet. So now I can just grab all this real quick. Whoopsie. Accidentally unselected it. And if you, there, I over selected and accidentally got underneath this. So that's an easy fix. I just come over here and deselect. And sometimes you keep clicking on the wrong things. That's okay. And so on. If I don't want to try to grab everything in one go, again, I can cut it. Let's see. All right. And then again, if I over select, just fix that. Now, again, see how tedious this is if you have to go back in and fix things or like organize after the fact. It's so much easier if you organize ahead of time, but it is doable. It just takes time. So I'm going to go ahead and say make group. I'm going to apply this to the baseboard. And now let's turn off baseboard. So I did miss a few things. All right. We're just going to grab that. All right. Edit, cut, turn on the baseboards, double click, edit, paste in place. There we go. Turn off the baseboards. Now, for the most part, besides this one little line, but now this is the last little section. So if the kitchen floor and the floor in the dining room are going to be exactly the same material, then I can draw a plane all the way across. And or if I want to have a couple different, like, I don't know what's happening down here. There's this weird little jog here. We can fix that. Maybe we just need this to come. Make sure we're green. And then seam that up a little bit. And so then we can apply a floor material when we're ready. This I'm going to cut because this is part of the baseboards. Edit, cut. And then what I'm going to do is take this last little bit, make group. I'm going to apply it to the flooring layer. And I'm going to hide that flooring. I'm going to turn back on baseboards, double click to edit, edit, paste in place. And there we go. So now we've got plan layer, ceiling, ceiling feature, crown molding, entourage, flooring layer. So everything in here got organized and now it's ready to start applying all the materials to it. And for example, if you need to fix the sconce, double click in the group, just select the one you need to move and move that over and get it centered exactly where you need it. And boom, we have a very organized file.